Hello and welcome to a very special, extra spooky event with Oz Authors Online. We're so glad you could join us today. I'm Chim, and I'm joined by the amazing Poppy NWOSU'S. And today we're here to celebrate the official launch of this fantastic anthology, Hometown Haunts, a Love Oz YA horror collection put out by Wakefield Press. And it is just an absolute joy and pleasure to be able to bring this to you guys today, properly on Halloween, because I think it's very thematic and special. Before we begin, I'd like to, of course, pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the lands on which we all gather. I come to you from the Gadigal country of the Eora Nation and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. And we're very excited to bring you this incredible event. I just feel so incredibly privileged to be a part of this fantastic collection. I have been just so excited to see all these stories come to life, and then finally to have this book in my hands to read everyone else's amazing stories has just been, I've been basically having trouble sleeping at night because as I've been talking about this book, I'm actually really terrible at horror. So I've only been reading little bits at a time, and I literally jumped. I think Lisa Fuller's story had me looking at my cat in the most suspicious way possible. So it's really, really effective, guys. I'm staying up at night, so it's doing its job. But I want to, of course, find out, and I'm sure you guys are all very keen to find out about how this book came to life and the stories behind it. So I'd like to turn it over to Poppy and to talk about her amazing work. And thank you so much, Poppy, for bringing us all together and bringing this fantastic book to life.
Oh, thank you, Ray. Hello, everybody. My name is Poppy NWOSU'S. I'm coming to you from Ghanaland on the Adelaide Plains, and I am the creator, I guess, of Hometown Haunts. It's very, very exciting to be here launching this book. It's been a huge project that has taken a lot of different people's input and efforts. And so it's just so exciting to kind of see it as an actual book now. So I guess for me, this was, I've always loved horror since I was very young, but, it's not what I write. Normally, I'm a kind of YA rom-com writer is what I've been doing. But I always had the idea, seeing other young adult fiction Australian anthologies coming out over the last few years, and it always just kind of popped into my head, like, I would love to read a horror version of one of those. It's just something that I thought would be really, really fun. And about a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago nearly, I actually got the opportunity to start working at Wakefield Press, which is my publishers of my previous books. And so I kind of got the opportunity to float this really random idea that I had that I never, ever suspected was something that I would actually be able to work on or create. And Wakefield Press is a very small independent press from SA and filled with amazing, passionate people. And basically they just said, go for it. And so, we did, and we've kind of, put together an anthology. So we had a competition that went national that people could submit stories to, but we also approached a bunch of authors as well. And I found it so exciting to kind of think about all these young adult fiction authors in Australia that I love and admire and respect so much. And, contacting them and asking them for, whether they would write stories for this. And I think it's been such an interesting experience hearing the other contributing authors kind of talking about their relationship with horror, how they feel about it. And it's kind of, I think, really hit home to me something that I think I already knew and loved about horror, which is, it's such a wide genre. There's so many different ways that you can write horror and engage with horror. And I feel like this collection really showcases that. Each story feels very different and unique and very, very different, I want to say, but I do think comes together as a really cool kind of whole collection. So yeah, it's been a long, long journey, and I couldn't be prouder of what this book has become and just all the hard work that all the contributing authors have put into this. So yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. And were you surprised? I mean, I was definitely just how diverse all the stories were. And I'm just curious, Poppy, did anything surprise you as you were putting together any kind of standout moments or any sort of gasps or, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it was interesting because And I guess it's something that I'm hearing everyone say a lot while we're doing these kind of chats around the book, is that a lot of the authors that, we approach to include in this are kind of like, oh, well, I don't normally write horror, but I wanted to challenge myself and give it a go. And I think now that I'm thinking about it, it didn't hit me when when we were talking about who to approach. But I'm not traditionally a horror writer, but I never thought, oh, I don't want to give that a go. So we didn't kind of only pick authors that were sort of writing that already. Like, obviously some authors kind of already were leaning into the horror, or spooky stuff or scary stuff, but some of the other authors we approached weren't. And I kind of like that. And I think maybe that does kind of lead to a book that is filled with stories that are so different. And I think that's what I particularly wanted, because that is what I love about horror personally, is that there's no one way to tell a horror story. There's not one way to feel when you read or watch something that's horror either. Like, you can be straight out terrified, or you can be, slightly creeped out and unsettled. And both of those things are horror. They're just different ways of telling it. So I think I couldn't be more pleased that it is so, like, each story is so unique. They're so different from each other, but they do, I feel, I'm a bit biased because I really like this, but I feel like they all go together really, really well. So and for me, like, the kind of standouts, like, whoa moments were, it was all in motion. The whole anthology was happening, and everyone would email their stories to me when they finished writing them. And I think, you get so nervous, like, you open the story and the email, and you're like, oh, what if I don't, I hope that I connect with this and like it. And then every single one that came through, and I think I just got more and more shocked as time went on. I was like, I love this story. Like, I can't believe that this is the story that's been sent to us that we get to publish in this anthology. So I think it was very, very exciting to just become, I think, more and more excited with each story that came in, being so pleased at the quality, I think, because they're so strong and so unique.
Yeah, it must have been like at some moment you realized, oh my God, this is going to work as a whole collective. Because it would be very nervous. Certainly,
That's so true. I think this was my greatest fear. Actually, the scariest thing for me about this was, if you write your own book and your own book's getting published, like, that's your book. And if it doesn't work or it doesn't come out when it's meant to, like, that's only you who has to sort of deal with that. So it was a very intense experience to suddenly be kind of the person driving this project. And, I felt extremely responsible to make sure it all works out. And obviously it's not just me, it's the whole of Wakefield Press, everyone putting in their time and effort towards making this. But it was certainly a very exciting moment when we got to a point where I was like, oh, this is working, it's going to happen, and it's going to come out when we said it would. Yes.
Well done. Seriously, I'm so incredibly impressed. And yeah, and as a contributing author who doesn't typically write horror as well, I'm just really, I was really honored that you came to me and asked me, and I definitely was one of those people who took it on as a personal challenge. And yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun to write. And I think, even for someone like me who isn't very normally typically drawn to horror, mostly because of traumatic events. It's something that we all relate to. And I think it is such a wonderful anthology to have, especially in this time. I think, things have been a little bit iffy to come back to like really basic human emotions, and fear is definitely one of them. And I think it's such a good anthology to have. And what a great day to launch it on Halloween. And you said it was going to come out on Halloween, and here it is.
Here it is. So true. It's a perfect day for it.
Now, tell us a little bit. We have a little bit of a special treat for everyone. Do you want to talk through what's gonna happen for what we're gonna do?
Sure. So this launch is, well, actually, we're going to be premiering a spooky video today, which we thought would be a really fun way to launch the book. We know everyone's probably a little bit, I don't know, zoomed out of it. So we thought it would be something a little bit different and hopefully a little bit unique and a little bit fun and, very fitting for Halloween, which is today. So every single author who is contributing to the book basically recorded just a little thing for us, reading a little section of their book. And one of our contributing authors, FELIX Wilkins, has put together an amazing video for us to show you guys, featuring all the authors. And he's done that through his production company, YABBA Films. So thank you, FELIX, very much for all your hard work. I've seen the video and I'm very, very excited to show everyone what this one is. So yeah.
Awesome. So we'll get into it. Guys, be ready, be warned, you're going to be spooked out. Here we have the launch video of Hometown Haunts. Hope you enjoy. Hello, I'm Chim, and I wrote The Party. The music is dead, but the room is hardly silent. I can't tell if it's a trick of the room's red light, but as Matt makes his way back to me, everyone around us starts to change. Their faces droop, melting like candle wax, those pretty features pulling apart.
I'm Jared Thomas. My story is Seek and Destroy. What spirits? I asked Victor. They're everywhere. Victor turned on the torch and shot it up at him. There's some fellas, they had their guts cut with rocks and coal shoved inside of them. And they're full of fire, their eyes are fire, and they can't be touched by nothing. And then there's just ghosts, like white fella ghosts. But I could call these fellas here right now if I wanted to. There's all kinds of different spirits out here, he said.
Hello, I'm Emma Preston, and my story is It's Quiet Now.
I'm Vicky Wakefield and my story is Heart-Shaped Stone. Arlo runs her hands lightly over the stones. One of them is singing to her, but which one? Arlo looks up. Cam says what? Katie's eyes are glazed with fear. Her hands flutter, pulling at the ends of her hair. Cam says one day you'll disappear, just like the other foster kids. Then what will I do? Arlo's hand touches a stone, roughly the size and shape of a human heart, and in that moment she understands what happens here in the canyon. Sacrifice.
Hi, I'm Sarah Epstein and my story is Stop, Revive, Survive. On his return to the car, Eddie paused at the water tank to wash his hands. He heard a much louder crack in the forest this time, like a tree branch splitting in half. Something heavy thumped to the ground. Campers collecting firewood? Maybe. Eddie wasn't sticking around to find out.
Happy Halloween. I'm Lisa Fuller, and my story is Don't Look. Burnt hills wave gently in the shimmering heat. The sun is sinking fast now, lengthening shadows and stringing the sky with reds and pinks. Darker blues push their way through them even now. The last of the light fades. The hairs on my arms and leg prickle. A chill flows like a wave onto my skin. That feeling I had all afternoon of being watched intensifies.
Hi, my name's Poppy NWOSU'S, and my story in Hometown Haunts is called Nature Boy. We lie side by side, my shoulder to his. Cool sand forms a mold around my body as if I'm sinking. Despite the heat and mosquito and the thick darkness, I feel at home. This beach is our place. My brother points at the night sky, a stretch of stars taking over the whole world, and one star that moves, coming closer.
Hi, I'm Emma Osborne, and my story is Slaughterhouse Boys. The cow's screaming cuts through the noise of the party. The celebration carries on, all bitter beers and squealing rock music and blue singlets, and the only thing Tom can do is smile until his cheeks hurt and rub his thumb over the hilt of the knife at his belt. By the end of the night, the cow's blood will coat his tongue.
Hi, my name's Margot McGovern, and my story is YABBA. I won my first swimming race years before I laid eyes on a pool. Nan says I'm precocious. Mum calls it ambitious. Truth is, there aren't any competition-sized pools on the York Peninsula. In Innisberg, we learned to swim in the sea. But even among our community of fishing families and oyster farmers, I always had an unusual affinity for the water. And after I became the youngest person to swim across the bay at high tide, a rumour went around that I was part Manur.
Hi, I'm Marianna, and this is Hunger. The wind blew out my first 2 strikes of the match. On the 3rd attempt, a spark caught on the corner of a hell note. It curled black around the edges, then whoosh, the entire bundle lit up. "You got anything smaller than 10,000? asked a husky voice. On the faded plastic sun lounge lay a wizened old woman in a frayed blue tunic and hemp pants. She crossed her matchstick-thin legs and held up the banknote as if inspecting it for watermarks. No longer charred, it had acquired a pearly sheen. No offence, but it's hard to get change for 10,000 for a packet of cigarettes.
Hello, my name is Alison Evans, and my story is Angel Eyes. The angels arrived to cleanse the sins of the wolves.
My name is Felix Wilkins, and my story is the best years of your life. Don't scratch your back. Don't scratch your back. You'll be better off if you ignore it if you just learn to live with it. Don't let the itch control you, you control the itch. Look around, everyone in this classroom wants you to scratch that itch until there's blood oozing down your back and you can point and whisper and snigger and feel safe knowing they're not the other today. Keep them waiting.
G'day, I'm Holden Shepherd, and my story is Rappaccini's son. I imagine luring them into Sonny's garden, where the plants come alive in my presence. How Pietro's sneer would die on his face, and my vines choked him, lifted him off the ground, smashed his skull into the terracotta. Once or twice I shake my head. I'm placid, I would never hurt anyone. These aren't my thoughts. Or are they?
Wow.
Yay!
Felix, that was something special. I got chills. I definitely got chills. And look, we've got a celebratory black cat.
I put the lights in her chair, so she's not very happy about it.
Oh, there we go. What an incredible achievement. I definitely got chills so many times. And just to hear all of the different takes that the authors had on their stories to kind of bring us the most frighteningly good bits is absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's so much fun. I love seeing that. Thank you so much for all your hard work, Felix. It's an incredible, incredible video.
YABBA Films, guys, they have a YouTube stream. Yep, definitely check it out. They've done an incredible amount of great work here, and I have no doubt we'll be seeing lots of amazing productions from them in the future. So yeah. Oh, good. Poppy, how do you feel? This is quite an achievement and a milestone and everything. I'm sure there's lots of people to thank, all of those things.
Yeah, it is. I guess I just want to start by saying thank you to you for hosting this today. Really, really appreciate you being here and doing this for us on Halloween on launch day. Super appreciate it. I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who tuned in to watch. It's so lovely to just have the support of the reading community and the young adult fiction community here in Australia. Everyone is so supportive and wonderful of new fiction, and I love that about our community. I also want to say a huge thank you to Wakefield Press, of course. Sorry, my cat bro is a bit distracting. But yeah, a huge thank you to Wakefield. Obviously, this is where I work. These are the people I work with, and they're all incredible. I want to say a huge special thank you to Michael Boland, our director, also Joe Case, our YA publisher, and Maddie Sexton, who was also very heavily involved in putting this one together, as well as everyone else in production and warehouse and accounts, and really everyone got involved in this one quite a lot. The illustration on the front is done by a artist called Jessie Brooke. As you can see, it's pretty cool. So she's an amazing and talented illustrator. And I also want to say a big thank you to Liz Nicholson. She designed the cover, the spine, the back, and also the beautiful inside pages with the splattered blood. Liz is a part of the Wakefield family, quite literally. She's Michael Boland's wife and the mother of my co-worker, Millie. Very sadly, Liz passed away last week, so it's been a very sad time at Wakefield, but I couldn't feel prouder that the book that we're launching today has Liz's fingerprints all over it, and I think is one of the many lasting testaments to her immense talent and all the hard work and beautiful, beautiful books that she made. I also just quickly want to say a huge thank you to all the contributing authors. You guys have been amazing. I didn't know everyone personally before we kind of approached them and asked them. So some people got really weird emails from me and might not have known who I was. So thank you to everyone for saying yes and being involved in this. It's very, very cool. And again, just thank you to Felix and his production company, YABBA Films, for putting together our the video for today. And that's it. That's quite a lot. That's probably enough.
That's huge. And every book that it just takes a real family, and it takes a lot of people with a lot of dedication and stuff. And Poppy, I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to come together, especially during this time. I know for me as a writer, to write something that was a little bit different, also during a time where, I think 2020, I think that it was a challenging time for all of us to have a project that was a little bit different and a little bit out of left field to keep us all in line. And just, it's been such a wonderful joy to work with you and Joe and the rest of the Wakefield family. So from my heart, thank you all.
Thanks, Way. That's lovely.
Oh, good. Yes, thank you all for joining us. We're so great. I officially declare Hometown Haunts launched.
Yay! Thank you.
Please, if you don't already have a copy, please visit your independent local bookseller to get your hands on one. It's a perfect thing to be reading today as you're heading through Halloween and also through the rest of the year and stuff. The stories are just fantabulous. So much talent here, such an amazing collection that I'm sure will kind of live on in Oz YA canon. I hope so. Anyway. And yes, I'll also be putting a link to the high definition video of what the wonderful video that we showed today in live stream. Obviously, streaming is always a bit of a question quality, so we'll make sure you get a really good look at that. All those creepy graphics and everything, so you can't sleep at night. We want to make sure that happens.
Yay!
All good. But yes, thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much for being supportive of Australian YA and for supporting writers and booksellers and just everyone who comes together for this industry, because yeah, it really does feel like a family. And thank you, Poppy, for joining us as well.
Thank you so much, Way, and thank you everyone for turning up today. Really appreciate it.
See you next time. We're